Hi everyone, it's Ren here. How are you doing? As you can see, I am actually sending you a little video from the Louvre Museum in Paris. I just visited it for the... Oh, look at my hair. It's messy, but please forgive me for that. It's a bit windy today, so I'm probably not going to stay on video for a very long time because I'm feeling incredibly self-conscious. No, someone is trying to sell me stuff. It's crazy. Like the Louvre is I knew that it was the most visited museum in the world, but I didn't expect it to be that crazy. I think during the summer, which essentially has started, it must get like 50,000 to 100,000 visitors a day. I know it scores like, you know, over 10 million a year, but like this is when everybody comes, and to be honest, it was very hard to stay focused. Fortunately, I have this, you know, little pair of headphones. I had them on, and because of a lot of the works are kind of grandiose, you know, I decided to put some epic music on, like some themes from like Game of Thrones and stuff like that, and it worked really well. You know, I saw obviously the Mona Lisa. I saw a lot of works by the great Renaissance Italian painters. I saw a lot of like great French art from the 19th century. I only got the chance to see about, you know, a fifth of it in 4 hours, but that's essentially what you can expect from a visit to the Louvre. It's about it's I don't know if it is the largest museum in the world. I wouldn't be surprised if it were, and certainly, you know, to see the entirety of it in a focused manner, you'd have to like dedicating time to each work of art, and keeping in mind that, you know, a visit like this is fatiguing because you have to focus a lot and you're walking so much. I think that it would require at least a week to see the whole thing. But you know, this visit has been great. I think it's my third visit in 10 years, and it's just as special as the previous ones. I was thinking like inside my mind earlier, there's no better way of being, you know, of getting fit while doing cultural things than visiting museums like this one. If I live in Paris, which is not impossible, that I will eventually move there in the very near future. It's not impossible, it's an option. Ireland is another one. I think that you know, I'll take full advantage of my ability to visit these museums for free, also because I'm currently on a sabbatical, so I can show my unemployment little you know, proof, and I get to visit everything for free, which is amazing. Anyway, I've been kind of blabbering without any particular purpose for now. I think mostly because there were some people around. There are still some people around, and I was kind of trying to say something without being too self-conscious. But this visit also made me think that in addition to providing a great opportunity, you know, to make a video in a cool setting, I could get the chance to discuss what it means, you know, to appreciate, enjoy, engage in art for people, maybe for like if we consider the INFJ perspective. So, you know, how do INFJs relate to art? Is there a particular way they relate to art? Is art important to the average INFJ? I think so. From my experience, INFJs tend to be quite sensitive to art, and I must say that personally, I think art plays a very important role in my life. Of course, you know, through the whole process of writing, and that I dedicate a lot of time to. A lot of my writing is philosophical, which might not come across as art necessarily and more as thought, but I very much consider my writing, especially in its finished products, which usually takes a long time to be art. Art is very important. The creative process is very important. But similarly, these moments when I go to a museum and I sort of immerse myself in this world of masterpieces, I feel so exhilarated as a result. You know, the first thing I want to do now is just like return to writing and create something that I'm very proud of. And that is very important, I think, for my creative process. Now, I don't know what the INFJ sort of lens brings in this case, but for me, I would say that a lot of art seems to be about NI for me, you know, like I just stop in front of a work and often I don't really know why. This work just speaks to me. I took some pictures of such works today. They're not necessarily by the greatest masters, you know, like people, something about a visit to the museum is that, look, if you're a misanthropist, you're not going to become less of a misanthropist by visiting a museum like this one. Because people are sheep. I'm sorry, but this is maybe the most asshole thing I've said in my YouTube career. But people are sheep. Like they go to the best known work of art and they just stop in front of it. They congregate, thousands of them, and just they take a picture of it. They don't even take the time to look at it, to appreciate it for what it is. And I just think that's a great shame. Because it's the summer and so not the best time to go visit a museum like this if what you like is it's peace and quiet, which is always better to engage in a meaningful encounter with a great work of art. Again, like I tried to create conditions so that I would not be too distracted, but I still came across works. Of course, there are some well-known works that I went to. The works of Botticelli, for example. Botticelli is one of my favorite painters, and like the Louvre has some amazing paintings by him, so they're well known and I absolutely worship his work. But I also took photos of work that I don't necessarily know. I'm sure for specialists the works are famous. Not for me, because I'm not really a specialist in art, to be honest. Maybe a little bit more in certain specific domains of like literature for certain periods, but that's about it. Maybe some modern indie music too, but that's a very different area of art production. And yeah, like these meaningful encounters with these works that I didn't personally know, and they didn't have a name that would necessarily attract me. But I don't know if it's an NI encounter or not, if it can be called that, but the work just spoke to me, and didn't just speak to me in the sense of like me being aesthetically pleased with it. It's really something I cannot pinpoint, but sometimes it can actually inspire an idea, for a philosophical idea. It can inspire the writing of an abstract poem, or sometimes not even an abstract poem. It can inspire a text. And often I cannot even talk about, and there's nothing more frustrating than being asked about, so what's the genesis of how this encounter inspired you to write this piece? I have no idea. I just know, as INFJs say. So that was great. And then the final little anecdote before I close this video is to say that I don't know about other INFJs, but for me personally, encounters with great, inspiring, monumental art, not necessarily monumental, but great art that transports you, can soothe the pain of the everyday. I have not opened up about this on my channel because I don't necessarily want to do this ostentatiously for now anyway. But I've had some romantic troubles, some romantic pain experience in the last few weeks, and it's fine, I've dealt with it okay. Of course, there's some lingering pain from this, but some part of me knew that going to Paris, making the decision to go to Paris and go into the Louvre and experiencing these amazing works that I've admired for a long time, there was a transcendent experience that almost gave me the strength to elevate myself above these daily and more immediate terrestrial worries. And I feel like I've been given an added strength by some of these works to deal with, the problems of my everyday. And to be honest, that's great. Of course, we'll see tomorrow how I feel. Maybe it's a more spontaneous, immediate experience that's just there in the moment, and that in itself is valuable. But I don't know. I feel like I knew already that this would happen, and it's happened in the Louvre more than anywhere else that I visited in Paris. And I visited Orsay a few days ago, the Beaubourg Museum. I visited the Saint Chapel. All these places are great. The cemetery of the Père Lachaise is great. I saw the grave of Jim Morrison, Oscar Wilde, and Marcel Proust, and many others. That was very special as well, and the Louvre was special in its own way. And it's almost an encounter with humanity and history and genius and the beauty that's in the world. And I think it can really transport you above the realm almost of your anxiety and your worries. It's done that for me, and if you haven't visited the Louvre and you're going to Paris at some point, make sure not to miss out. Okay, see you guys. I'll talk to you soon, probably later in the week. Ciao.